sure everything looks like it should. Okay, no clamps are missing. Nothing, I don't see anything spilling out. I'll just take a quick look at your suspension while you're over here. You don't have to say anything, but you could tell them, you know, I'm going to just get everything quick once. Or you want to sound professional when you're doing this on test day, okay? But make it short because they want you to move on. This is where you put your windshield wiper fluid. If you see it there, you know it's full, okay? All right, make sure you don't bump your head into this because they'll just laugh. You do. And believe me, you will hit them, as we all do. And your meat and potatoes is obviously all over on this side. You know, so you tell them it's the alternator water pump. Just point. Do not touch anything, guys. Just point to that's my water pump that runs out the same belt as the alternator. It's properly not secured, not leaking, and my hose is leading to the water pump. Properly not secured, not leaking. I like to go onto my coolant reservoir, power steering reservoir. This is where I fill my oil. This is where I check my oil. Any of my levels that are below minimum, I will fill them. You can say it like that. All my caps are present, not cracked or missing. All my hoses leading to these components are property mount secure with the clamps all in place. Nothing is leaking. I have no abrasions, bulges, or cuts on any of my hoses. So that would take care of all your fluid levels. So I'm going to start with my steering, okay? I have my steering shaft with my U-joints at each end well greased to my steering gearbox. I have my pitman arm, my drag link. I have an upper and lower control arms. The lower connects to my tie rod. They're all property mount secure with castle nuts and cotter pins. If he asks you how many, 7. Close enough. All right. I'm going to go down to my suspension. I have my front spring hanger that comes back through my U-bolts and saddle, back to the rear spring hanger or shackle, rear spring hanger, no cracks or welds. My main leaf spring can have no more than 25% damage. I'm going to make sure I have no shiny metal on my saddle, which would indicate my U-bolts are loose. I'm going to come to my brake chambers. I'm going to check my brake chambers and hoses to make sure they're properly mounted secure, nothing's leaking, the clamps are in place, my push rod is straight, my slack adjuster, both they connect with a clevis and cotter pin, and I should have no more than 1 inch of free play on my slack adjusters when my brakes are released. And then we can go to the inside of the tire. So I'm going to look inside my brake drum. I'm going to check, make sure my return springs are there, my brake pads, my brake shoes have no visible damage, no oil or grease. I want to make sure there's no cracks or illegal welds on any of these parts. I'm checking the inside of my rim as well to make sure that there's no excessive amount of oil in there, no debris. Excessive amount of oil could indicate that I have an inner seal leak. So then we can come to the tires. I'm going to check to make sure that my steer tires, they must be the same size and light across the axle, that I have a tight bead around the rim and tire. No visible damage, no abrasions, bulges, or cuts, no tread separation, no uneven wear on my tire, inside or out. They cannot be recaps. They must have a minimum of 4/32 of an inch of tread depth and 100 to 110 psi or per manufacturer specifications. I'm going to check my rim, which I can see I have no visible damage, no cracks or illegal welds. My valve stem is straight with a metal cap. I have 10 lug nuts. I must have 10 lug nuts. They can't be stripped or missing. Sign of looseness on aluminum would be a white powdery residue, and on steel it would be rust. I have my hub seal, which is property mount secured. It's not leaking, and I must have at least 1 inch of 90 weight oil. And that pretty much would, oh, I forgot one thing, sir. My suspension, forgot to talk about my shock, which is property mount secured with nuts, bolts, and rubber bushings, and it's not leaking. So,
you got to mention the power steer pump at all, or no?
So, like, you know, so that's another thing. Yes, I forgot to mention my 2 gear-driven items. Okay, and usually I do that after I talk about my water pump. So I have 2 gear-driven items on here, which is my power steering pump and my air compressor. And they're tucked into the frame, property mount secured, not leaking. And that's pretty much all they want to hear. They're not going to get real specific. As long as you know where they're at or whatever. Actually, your compressor units right there. Yeah, there's your dryer filter. That's the air compressor right there. So, that unit right there. So,